What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. Man alive, we have a couple of great guests. It's been, we're laughing our butts off just getting the mics warmed up and getting ready to go live. This is going to be a very, very fun episode. Greg is in rare form today. We've got Beverly Ruffner here. The Bevinator is with us today. We've got Gene with us today with a tech tip. Good God, we've got a bunch of high D fast talkers. We've got me and Greg, and then two East Coast people. Like this is gonna go south really quickly potentially. But anyway, we'll keep it on the rails for as long as I can possibly do it. I think this is probably the day where I lose my certification from the Greg Wrangler, because you're in rare form today, Greg. What is up?
Dude, I am in definitely rare form. I absolutely want to throat punch somebody right now, especially everybody who's techie, because I cannot get my mother effing computer to work at my office, and I've wasted 3 freaking days messing around with this thing, and then my freaking tech guy won't call me back and come over and help me. Better run back here and set up the home office, and if you want to push buttons, I will jump down your throat and kick in their tonsils. So anyone who's going to push my buttons, I am very sorry for you. But besides that, dude, it's rainbows, unicorns, and sherbet. What's going on? I know.
Please, for everyone, just to make Greg feel better, everyone that's joining us on Facebook Live, can you please just send him a heart right now?
But you know what? Hey, in all honesty, dude, Beverly is absolutely insane. You guys may have seen her on Lead Gen. She is absolutely insane. She's awesome. Then we got the Velpy, who's my little bald ninja, just social media ninja. And he's going to – there's the baldness coming through. Mighty shiny today, sir. Mighty shiny. But no, these guys are wonderful, you guys. You really have a good show today, and I'm honored to share the screen with these awesome 3 people. So welcome, guys.
Oh, that was dripping with crap. That sounded like a bunch of crap to me. That was crap.
Dripping with
positivity
crap.
Pointed towards you, and it's crap.
Oh, my God. I love it. All right. Well, I've got a question we can cover here real quick. I want to jump into something really, really quick, and then we'll get into the tech tip for today. So Sharon, this is on the Lead Gen Scripts and Objections group, says, how do you get lowball buyers to step up their offers? Greg, why don't we start with you real quick? Is there a script? Is there a magic trick? Is there a spell you can cast to get the buyers to write a better offer?
Look, bitch, do you want to buy the house or not? Quit lowballing everybody. You're going to be lowball Louie if you keep this up. So here's the script. So I've said it several times. I'll say it again. You know, Matt, Julie, your 3 obese little wood denting, insulin sucking little babies. Do you guys want to try to buy the house, or do you just want to go buy the damn thing? And that's your script. And if they say we want to try it, well, then you're going to make a decision. Are they just kicking tires? Are they just looking for a good deal? Ask them if they're looking for a good deal, or if they want or need to buy the house. Because if you're in a marketplace where the prices are continually going up, and these people can only afford, not a little bit below where the market is, then maybe they should just wait for a little bit. They might be trying to say something to you without saying it when they put in the low offers. They might not be able to step up to that point. Mm-hmm. They financially could.
We're talking a lot about their comfort zone.
You're not able to afford. I mean, you never know what they're doing.
Maybe their comfort zone isn't what they're pre-qualified for.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
One tactic that I always use that seemed to have worked, if you want to sleep on it, you're not going to sleep in it. But the second thing is, if I have to come back to you and tell you that you did not get the home, that they took another offer, how does that make you feel right now?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's good. Yeah. Future. So it does help a little bit to get them to write a better offer.
Yeah, I've used the same script as well. Like, so if we do wait on this, how are you going to feel if someone else buys it when you guys are sleeping on it? Is that going to make you upset and sad? Well, yeah. Well, then we should probably think about stepping up to the plate first.
Yep.
And Bev, I've seen people, right there just change right there on the spot and put in a much better offer because they don't want to leave it. The fear of loss is a very, very, very powerful tool.
Yes. And we have a responsibility to get them the home that they want, because if they lose it, we have a chance of losing them as a client, because it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Mm-hmm. I like that, though, getting them to imagine and put themselves mentally and emotionally in that place. Just like hit them with the exact phrasing you would use and say, and then how does that make you feel? Get them to imagine what it's going to feel like, and then like, boy, I don't want to experience that for real. That doesn't sound
Always good. Go for the pain. Always go for the pain.
Love it. Mm-hmm. Love it. Always. All right, speaking of pain, Gene is going to bring it. No, I'm kidding. Gene,
Poor Gene.
So what's Gene with GVI Media? So Gene is like Greg said, the social media ninja. So he's out there every day in the trenches helping agents market themselves on social media. So, but you've got a little bit of a different tech tip for us today, Gene, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. It definitely still applies to social media, but it applies to a lot of other things that you're gonna deal with in your everyday technical life. So, but first, let me say one thing because I didn't get a chance to speak on that. That's what I used to tell my wife. Don't sleep, because if you're gonna sleep, what you guys were talking about was the game I kicked to my wife when we were dating. If you're gonna sleep on it, you're never gonna get to sleep in it, and it worked. So,
oh my God.
I think that's important to put out there. I don't know why everybody's laughing, but listen. And listen, you notice I said that quietly because she's here, and if she heard me, she would be on this podcast with us.
That's
and it wouldn't be me anymore. But anyway, so no, we're going to talk about security. So, Greg, you may have heard this. You may have heard this a little bit around the office. This is a fairly new scam that's out there, and I don't know. I'll try to articulate it, but basically what it is there are people, look, as a real estate agent, a lot of people in the world, you tend to stick with comfortable and easy passwords. And when you use a password, like let's say for your email and your Facebook accounts, and when you tend to stick with those passwords, a lot of times those passwords are pretty consistent across all your space. So when you have a password for your Gmail, it ends up being pretty close to your password for your Facebook and your bank accounts and all that other stuff. So there's a new hack that's going on, and it's not new. It's a couple 8 months old, but a lot of people still don't know about it. And what's happening is these people from overseas are able to run basically, you got to think about what's going on. They have a lot of access to watch what you're doing and things you're saying, and so there's a good way for them to hack your passwords. There's certain keywords, your kids' names, things like that. And what they try to do is they run a code hack against your passwords, against a bunch of them. And if they're able to break one of your passwords, what they're doing is they're logging in, and this is specifically aimed at real estate agents and brokers. They're logging into your email accounts and sending emails to your clients through your own email about wiring deposits for down payments.
Lord.
So think about it. So think about it this way. So, Greg, you're the agent. I'm the home buyer. We're talking, we have conversation. I get an email from Greg McDaniel saying, hey, we've had a change. Because you think about it, if you go through Greg's email, there's probably communication back and forth about when settlement date is, all these other things, right? So I get an email from Greg saying, hey, we had a wiring change, email it to the bank. The bank is in Punta Cana or somewhere overseas. That money goes. By the time Greg knows about it, we're at the table, and I'm saying, I already wired that. So from the buyer's perspective, it's coming from a trusted source with bad information, and that money is now long gone. And so what's happening is in a lot of cases, the brokerage is on the hook for it. And sometimes, you guys familiar with flood insurance for your house?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, flood insurance is not covered on your normal rider. You have to kind of get an additional piece of that policy in order to get it. And what we're finding out is a lot of insurance companies aren't covering that from a brokerage perspective under their E&O policy. So you have to actually go to the broker. And if you're a real estate agent listening and you want to be a hero, go to the broker and make sure that type of e-commerce stuff is covered. So if Gene Volpe were to lose 40 grand and they come after the brokerage, that's covered through the brokerage policy. I mean, just think about it this way. Do you just imagine a 26-year-old couple that spent the last 4 years saving 40 grand to put a down payment, all of a sudden that money's gone, right? So
what's the solution though, in terms of like the practical things that agents need to do besides the insurance part, just on the passwords?
So that's exactly where I was heading. That's a great lead in, Matt. Thank you. There's a bunch of apps out there that'll do certain things, but on your iPhone or on your Android, there's an application called Google Authenticator. My brother just made me aware of this. And basically what it is you can connect it to, if you search, what can I connect to my Google Authentication app? There's about 100 apps, your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, your Sony PlayStation games. Like there's a lot you can connect to. And what it does is you set up two-way authentication between that application and your phone. And anytime somebody tries to log into that account, it generates a random number on your phone or a button that says, are you trying to log in? You hit yes, and it allows that person or you access. If not, you can decline it. It shuts them down completely. So Google Authenticator is the app, yeah.
We were made aware of that scam about a year plus ago, and they actually changed our email guidelines that no longer do we do anything with money. It goes directly from title to the buyer. We have nothing to do with it.
Well,
so
just to that point, there's a big element there that you need to make sure as the agent and brokerage that you're communicating that, because Greg, from your perspective, you know that, and you'll never send an email to me, right? But if I don't hear that in the listing presentation and I get an email from Greg McDaniel, I'm sending it, right? It's great that Rockcliffe has that policy. But if I don't know that Greg, listen, if you ever get an email from me or anyone else requesting money, call me immediately. It's not us. That's not how we're doing it, right? So you got to make sure that that's in place too with the client.
Yeah, and that's very, very true. I've heard horror stories of like $200,000 just poof gone in one click of a button. Because we're buying $1 million, $2 million homes, $200,000. That's your deposit. I mean that's what you put in, and that's a lot of zeros, man, to lose. And there's a special place in hell for those shitbags, that decide to do that, because that's not cool.
That's right. If only we had an endless supply of Liam Neesons to go after them.
I'm I don't know where you are, but I'm coming.
That's right.
So I know that was a little bit dark on the dark side, but it's certainly an important element that people should, protect themselves against.
Yeah, love it. So it's the Google Authenticator.
It's a down payment condom. You protect yourself.
Wow.
This show is, man, this has got to be one of our most unique and interesting shows. I swear, I just need to start taking Chris Lockhead's advice and have a scotch. Friday shows, just have a scotch.
Yes, 11 a.m. be damned. It doesn't matter if it's 11 a.m. You drink some
That's
scotch.
right. That's right. No, never mind that me and Greg have like 2 hours of recording to do later this afternoon. Like Starbucks scotch. Yeah, anyway, all right. So first of all, we got a ton of people watching. I just want to thank everyone. Eric had a great comment. Gene, you beat him to it. But setting a process that if the client receives a financial request, call before acting on it. Great tip there from Eric. And guys, we got a ton of people watching. Just wanted to thank you for it. So make sure to send some more hearts and likes Greg's way. Help him cheer up. We need to help Greg cheer up. But let's get into it a little bit with Bev. Before we do that, Gene, remind everybody of how they can contact you and connect with you.
Yeah, gvimedia.com or genevolpe.com. You can find me on Facebook. I'm all over the place. Google search my last name, VOLPE. They can get me any which way.
Awesome. Very cool, man. We appreciate you being here. As always, thank you for the tip. Next time, I'm assuming it'll be more social media related and not as dark, but It's very necessary. Yes.
Very necessary. Beverly, good luck with these two goofballs. Have a great weekend.
You're leaving me?
I'm out of here.
See you, Gene.
Oh, that's awesome.
Guys.
All right. So, Bev, I wanted to follow up. There's a couple of follow-up questions that we didn't get a chance to get to because I wanted to get to Gene's point. But first of all, Philip Mallon had a great compliment for you that everyone needs to pay attention to Bev and systems. This woman knows what she's talking about. But yes. Raquel had a great question when said when they ask you how much they should offer, do you tell them a number or do you give them CMA comps and let them figure out what they would like to offer? So what's your perspective on that?
So, I mean, it really comes down to I'm one of the ones that will call the listing agent and get as much absolute information that I can get. Some listing agents will not talk at all. However, others will tell you exactly how to write the offer. So I want to know move out time. I want to know what's the most convenient closing date, because sometimes it's not about the price. Sometimes it's about the terms.
Yep.
So if you meet the seller on their closing, the date, the location, and you meet them, if they need more time to stay in the house because they haven't found a house yet, if they need to buy back whatever, there's a lot of intricacies that are more than just the value. So when I get enough information to be able to give back to my clients, then we present that offer based on, if we know we're up against multiple offers, just go in out of the gate strong. Because if they come back, some agents will let you negotiate, and they'll negotiate a couple offers, but some of them they just choose an offer and you don't even get a second chance. And I'm sorry, but I write one offer and I write it to win, and it's going to be the absolute best offer, because if this is the home of your dreams, it's my job to make sure that you're going to get it.
All right. Well, let me ask you a follow-up question before we get Greg's perspective on it. So besides being bubbly and fantastic, how do you call a seller's agent and get more information out of them than maybe they might be anticipating that they would give?
So I would just be, hey, Matt, you know what? I I showed the property. My clients are in love with it. I really, really want them to get this home, and I want to make it as easy as possible. Can you tell me what your client situation is? Why are they moving? Are they moving? Is it a relocation? What does their time frame look like? What is the perfect offer for them for time frame?
Okay.
And then even talking about home inspections, make the home inspection as is. It's like, yes, we're going to protect you. We'll write the offer with a home inspection, but we're not going to ask you to fix anything. That is a huge piece that you can take away. I mean, I've had us win contracts on removing the contingency and having the sellers responsible, because at the end of the day, that alleviates a lot of extra tension that the sellers they're worried about the home inspection. So you can go in at a realistic price, not asking for the closing costs, going in as is, and you're still getting the property for a good price, but yet alleviating. So when you're asking those questions, it's, hey, is there any concerns in the home inspection? Da, 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 da. So if they say, oh my gosh, yes, well, let's maybe talk about doing it as is. But full disclosure to your buyers, it's my fiduciary duty to protect you. So I'm right up front and open. What's more important to you? Having the seller fix things in the home, or you getting the home of your dreams? Yeah. What's more important?
Yeah, makes sense. Greg, what's your perspective on it?
I agree with Beverly across the board. It comes down to your personal relationship and your reputation as well in the agent community. Because if you're a douchebag and everybody doesn't like you, then they're not going to disclose information to you as the buyer's agent. But if Beverly and I are working in the same market and she and I are buds, and I say, hey, yo, Bevinator, hey, I got a couple of buyers.
We want to work together, right? I'm like,
I'm
gonna tell you. Yeah.
I said, like, hey, what do I need to do to get my people in there? Where do I need to land? And what kind of terms are your people looking for? Is there a specific title company that they want to use? Do they need a rent back, want a rent back? So basically what Beverly was saying, but it comes down to your relationship with the other agent.
It does.
And it comes down to client control with you. You've got to be able to control the expectations of your buyers. They have to know what they're dealing with. If they're dealing with a full deck, and don't go in, when the offers are due Monday at 3, don't write it on Saturday at noon and deliver it. You need to know what you're writing against. Do you know what terms, what price, what additional items of goodness you might want to provide over to the seller? I mean, it really doesn't matter. You might up your down payment higher. Don't send an email to your buyer. We talked about that. Gene is very aware of that. But all these. It's a complex art of writing a solid, intelligent offer. It's not just putting numbers down on a page. Like I learned today, not today. I learned last week. I want to say when I did a legal update that a legal loophole that sometimes a buyer can use is when it comes to releasing your financing contingencies on the California Association, you have to put the terms of the rates of your loan. If you can put it that all of a sudden the market just shot through the roof and you said no higher than 4% interest rate and it went to 5.5, you can use that as a get out of jail free card. We also going to use it on the downside as well. It's really interesting. Again, there's nuances, and know that when you write a contract, guys, nothing is concrete at all. It doesn't matter. There's always a wiggle room. There's always some way to get out or get away from that contract, no matter what the contract says. And that's what I found incredibly irritating about this industry, because the expectations is like, I'm in a legal binding contract. No, you're not.
And the buyers are way more protected than the sellers, always.
They are. The seller's locked in, lock, stock, and barrel. You are in it to win it at that point. The buyers can wiggle out. I mean, they can. I mean, and then you have the dipshit buyer that goes out and, hey, we just got our dream house. Let's go buy a new Mercedes. No, your debt to income just went through the fucking floor, asshole. Damn it. Take it back. Take it back right now.
That's right. Go walk your happy butt back to Mercedes.
Yes.
With the tail between your legs.
All right. Give back your toy.
Oh, man, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So that's the part of it, like, not having worked with buyers, no idea. So I'm going to stay out of this whole discussion completely, but I'm glad you guys agree. So good. People learned a lot from that. So I have zero to contribute. But I do have this to contribute. So 2 things. Number 1 is getnowbusiness.com. You guys should go check that out. That is the latest course that is starting up. The first course of that run of Get Now Business starts on June 5th. That is the first Monday in June. It is 9 in the morning out here on the West Coast, noon Eastern. So check that out, guys. That's a class all about how to strategically go after the people that are the most likely to do business with you in the next 90 days. So we're talking about people like Bev. You're going to talk about your database. We're sharing basically how to target and find the people that you already have some sort of connection to, or that have a need, and preferably both, and find the persons that have the connection and the need. That way they're most likely to trust you and have an actual need for what you do. So that's what that class is all about. So they should check that out. But Bev, if they're interested in connecting with you on the database stuff, how do they get connected up with you?
www.balancebusinessconsulting.com. I have
Perfect.
videos on every service that we provide and a pretty good explanation of everything. And really my business started kind of by default because everyone said that the ISA position doesn't work. And I was out to prove the industry wrong. And just being in so many databases and learning the common denominators, everything's just kind of propelled itself forward. It's been a really interesting ride.
Yeah, I was going to say, so clarify that a little bit. So when you say people were saying the ISA position doesn't work, you mean someone else calling through like a lead agent's database. In other words, people that they don't have a relationship with, but calling on behalf of so-and-so to kind of keep in touch and warm up a lead.
Agents that hire people to call for them, whether it be in-house or whether it be external. And what I realized has happened is the agents and the brokerages don't have the proper systems to hire to. So when they're hiring, they're just hiring somebody and letting them go in and figure it out. And it's not efficient. So there's not as many dials being done. There's a lot more research being done to figure out who you're supposed to be calling than actually getting the job done.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times though also is that the agents have a false sense of reality when it comes to an ISA and what the ISA is going to produce. You need to understand that it's still an online lead. It's still someone that's putting their feelers out there, not saying, come over now and list me. It's saying, I'm just going to dip my toe in the water right now. And then the ISA's job is to be persistent and consistent in the follow-up. I was talking with an ISA this morning, and they were telling me that, the agents are getting really ticked off, and why aren't they delivering hot leads? I'm like, because it doesn't work that way. It's still a long-term play. These people are 1 to 6 to 8 months or even longer out before anything's going to happen, but it's your job at this point to nurture. That's the unique selling proposition for an ISA, is to do the touch points all the time on your behalf, and then when they're ready to roll, then they shoot them over to you all hot and heavy and ready to list the property.
And that is such a great point, because the ISA model is really to keep the pipeline of business going so that 6 months, in 6 months it is to, in 9 months it is today business. But everyone is so microwave mentality minded that I'm hiring an ISA, I'm going to have closings tomorrow. Well, what you're doing today is where you're going to be in 3 months in real estate. And most end up quitting before they start to see And one thing I've realized, one of my clients, we've been literally working his database for a year and a month now. And, it's funny, the first 3 months, he's like, Bev, we're not seeing anything. Bev, what's happening? And I said, you have a brand new database. We need to work it, massage it, build your pipeline. Well, by month 4 and 5, he's like, Bev, I didn't see your invoice come over. We need to pay you. And to now, they have added, this is no joke, it was just him and his wife. They have added 3 agents to their company while we've been working in their database. And they have been my absolute best client because his wife was knocking it out of the park. She was, so we set opportunities. And Greg, like you said, the expectation of that ISA role, we are there to shake up the database and find the ready, willing, and the able. It's not so much, okay, here's the appointment in your lap, but she worked it and she followed up with it and she talked to the ready, willing, and able, and she built those relationships to the point where she's like, I can't do anymore. I can't. And they had to hire that. So they've been slowly hiring more and more agents over the course of, and so here's what happens. We've been working that database basically since day one. They are so dependent on us because they haven't had to be in the database at all. They have the most organized database that I know really in the industry, because we've been working it and we've been organizing it and keeping it organized. Not that I'm bragging. I'm just saying the consistency is where it's all at.
No, I'm just giggling because I'm like, well, if they're the most, if you think they're the most organized database, and I've heard what you say about my database, you quote have said I have the biggest train wreck of a database you've ever seen before, and I completely agree with you. Actually, I jumped in there. My coach, Coach Hank Avix, guy is a fucking rock star. He kicked me square in the nuts. I told you about this before, but I took action on what he told me to do, and it's getting into my database, guys. It's like manna from fucking heaven, just bloop, 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 just falling, and it's fantastic. I'm having conversations with people. I'm getting in front of them. I have one of my buddies, Matt. We're actually going to get him on our show. He does $250 million or more a year in volume in loans around the country. But he's like, dude, Greg, I also manage an office down in Pleasanton. Why don't you come on down? I'll let you meet all my lenders and see if you can start working with some of them, help us get some deals done. And it's just from calling my database. I hadn't talked to him 15 years. 15 years.
It's true. So I got to throw this out here. So everything in my life is always a life experience, and I got to learn from. So I go to Walmart yesterday. My daughter needed Brita filters. And this is my OCD-ness whenever I'm in databases. And I'm going to get to a point here. Greg, if you go to Walmart for a Brita filter, what department, where would you go to get a Brita filter?
I would go to the electronics department.
What? Explain.
I'm fucking with you. No, I would go to the water filtration department, the bucket area. I don't know where the hell I'd go.
Right.
Is there a water filtration area? I don't know. I'd go there. I'd ask someone like, where are Brita filters? And they would direct me there, and they would be clear and the big signs, right?
So when I go into a grocery store, I want to go in, get what I want, and get out. I don't want to be toting around with a cart watching people of Walmart and all the different aisles trying to find where shit is, right? So I go over to where all the Keurigs are, where all the water stuff, like the kitchen stuff would be. And I'm like, where the frick are the Brita filters? He goes, oh, they're back in the hardware department next to the furnace filters. And I'm like, huh? Filters. All right. So what my point is, Greg, you're coming to a party, and you are on the East Coast. You've never been to this grocery store before, and I ask you to stop and get Penn's light blue cheese dressing. When you go into the grocery store you've never been to, how do you know where to get that dressing at?
I'm gonna go to the aisle that says dressing, and go down, look on the right hand side, second row to the bottom, whoop, there it is, and we're off and running.
So how many different kinds of salad dressings are there? Kinds, brands?
Dozens of hundreds. Mm-hmm. A whole freaking row of them.
Right. But if they weren't on that shelf that had the overhanging signs, and the salad dressing wasn't all together on the same shelf, and everything was back in a box in the stock room in the grocery store, and you had to go back digging through the boxes, it's impossible to come to my party with the salad dressing. Right?
Oh, I would never get the salad dressing. I'd show up empty-handed, and you'd be like, "What the fuck are you? What are you good for? One salad dressing."
I'm just picturing the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Greg's just wandering through a warehouse of salad dressing. He's just wandering aimlessly for like the next 5 years.
So that is why the ISA position is not getting the results to the agents and to the brokerages, because they are putting the ISAs in the stock room. Anybody they have in their company, the agents that they have in their company, they're basically sending them to the stock room, having them open up the boxes, and it takes forever to get the results. The expectations are not met, and it's see you later. And it's the leads suck or the ISA can't convert. And it's not that. You did not fail because you don't know what Ken's blue cheese dressing is. You failed because you couldn't find it in an efficient way quickly, because you just want to get to the party. Beer 30 was at 5, and it was 10 till 5, and you had to get to beer 30.
It's so true, though. It's so true.
That's the biggest thing of organizing a database to be able to get the results that you're looking for.
So, Bev, if someone's a total, cluster F at the moment, what's something they can take action on today to decluster F themselves in some minor way until they call you and hire you, and you make their life rosy and beautiful?
Besides hiring me. So the most important thing is, and everyone's dashboard's different, because you may have some that, because I know when I was in yours, that's why I'd asked, you didn't have your IDX turned on. So there's people that are in the dashboard that were originally leads that were looking at properties, but they don't even know that they're in your database. So the number one most important thing is just send out a mass email and see who you can grab, and just put it all out there. Say, hey, it's been a long time since you've heard from me. My apologies. I'm doing an update and just wanted to reach out and say, hey, do you happen to still be in the market? And just see what kind of results you get back. If you're sending out 5,000 emails, you're going to get at least 50 people back. That's 50 people that you hadn't touched already. So it's a process of eliminating. If you have an IDX site, look at the people that are active in the database. Those are your most important because they're actively looking. Send a mass message out to them. So it's all about taking the masses and figuring out a way that you can really water it down and rise the most important to the top. Because the ones that are like, oh my God, I was just talking about real estate the other day and boom, I got this email today. It's all about conveniently getting them at the right time.
You know, it is so true, Bev, and I'm so glad that Hank kicked me in the nuts, because I can talk about this, as well. One of our past clients, I'm going through my database. Yeah, it's a disaster, I know, but I am muddling through it. And I talked to a guy named Irv. He's a past client of mine. He and his wife, Mary. And I just randomly picked up the phone. I'm like, what up, Irv? How you doing, man? Blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, I epically suck, and I apologize for not staying in contact more. It's totally my fault. I blew it. But, dude, how's life? What's new? How are the kids? Blah, 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 yakety schmackety. And then, hey, you know what? What I'm doing, man, is I need your help. Our team, we're trying to help about 20 to 30 more people before the end of the year. Who do you know that I should know that might be thinking about buying or selling? And I didn't know how.
Write that down. Write that down. That was a gold line.
But
that was golden.
Check out what happens next. And I throw it out there. I'm like, fuck, is it going to just like boom, just fall on dead ears? But this is his response. Well, he's really putting thought into it. He really was. He wasn't bullshitting. He's like, well, I was talking with a couple of the guys up at the club the other day. And was it Phil? Was it Jesse? It was one of those. I think a couple of the guys they're thinking about buying and selling property. What I'm going to do, Greg, is call me back next week. Next time I see him over the weekend, I'll ask him and I'll get you the information over to him. I'm like, what have I been doing this the whole time? And they literally say there's millions of dollars in your database, guys. And this is a proven example of me dropping the ball. I have always said, I am an agent just like you guys. I just happen to have a little bit of a platform to stand on, thanks to all you wonderful folks. But I fuck up daily when it comes to clients and follow-up and everything else. So I'm just like you guys.
Forward. It's failing forward.
Yes.
It was my add-on to what you're saying and why people aren't converting at higher levels. They have that conversation. That's the high. But then next week, they never follow back with Irv.
Right.
Oh, that is where you increase your chances, is in that follow-up after that conversation.
So to then once again jump back on what your point was. So here's my notes from my calls. So here they are. I'm going to follow up with Ryan. He's a lead. I'm going to call him in 2 weeks. He was stepping into a meeting. He's going to think about buying. I'm following up with the property on Santa Rita, talk with the seller and to get into his house on Tuesday. I'm going to follow up with Marianne next week, make sure she got my CMA and help her find a retirement community to move into. I'm going to call Irv next week for the referrals. I have these guys written down, and they're in my calendar as well. That's the most important part. Doing the follow-up through your database is key. That's a first date. Okay, you liked each other. You're going to go on a second date. That means you got to call her and ask her out again, jackass. You can't be like, she'll hit me up on Facebook or something. It's cool. I'm that guy. No. It's not going to happen, okay? So you got to keep following up. And keep
piece in the follow-up, Greg, is look at customer service today. Dear God, I cannot go freaking anywhere and get good customer service anymore. And when you do get good customer service, and I'm just talking expected customer service, not over the top. when did expected customer service become great? When you genuinely, when you're making those phone calls and you're asking people about their lives and about what's going on, nobody does that anymore. And, it's by you doing what you say you're going to do, that speaks volumes.
When I talked to Irv, I asked him that exact question. I'm like, Irv, what does your perfect client look like for your business consulting business? Who can I keep my ears peeled for? He's like, well, anyone does anywhere between 5 million and 100 million in volume in their business. I'm like, fantastic. What industries? He gave me the industries. Now I know what he's like. Well, industry, it's all business. There's no specific industry. But when it goes back, and then he knows that I'm actually caring. I shot him a text. He said, hey, great to talk. I'll get back with you next week with the referral information. But that's the customer service. Do you know what customer service? Do you know what good customer service is related to in today? Do you know what the level of the threshold that people hold at good customer service?
I'm afraid to hear.
Yeah, one level above crap. I mean, you can be an absolute buffoon and still be able to do it. And still be able to get. I mean, writing a handwritten thank you letter. Hey, great talking with you today. So glad that you're feeling better. Have a great day. Greg. Boom, done. People, it stands out. Small, tiny little things stand out.
Well, so few do it now.
So few. Why? Because it's not the norm. It's not expected. It's not demanded of you to have a higher level of ethics and professionalism. You can be a fucking idiot, like a knuckle-dragging, drooling moron, and you will get deals in real estate and in business because that's the way our society is going. If any of you guys have ever watched the movie Idiocracy, I swear to God, that's the first funny movie that's turned into a documentary.
Well, Greg, I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking about that customer service, and I was just playing through my head that account that I was talking about that hired the 3 additional agents. And the one thing that I can tell you is different about them than everybody else that we work with. Most agents, when we set an opportunity, they call one time and they're like, they didn't call me back. It can take, honestly, 5 to 8 phone calls after we've teed it up. And they maintain, like they call and they call and they text and they call. And then it's like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you so much for keeping up with me. Because just think of your own life when your phone rings. Oh my God, I am the master at not responding to text. I get it. I see it. I, in my mind, reply. But then like 5 days later, I'm going through and I'm like, shit. I never hit send. I have shit in my drafts all the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing a screenshot trying to prove I had it in my drafts because I feel like hell. I'm like, oh my God, I never responded to you. But they're the same way. Things that are a priority in my life, I don't respond back right away. Yeah. You're not yet a priority. So you've got to maintain the consistency, and that's the difference. So when you're doing your follow-ups, Greg, if they don't answer the phone next week, reset another one. And multiple forms of communication today are key. We have to find out what is their favored form of communication.
How do they communicate?
Mine's Messenger.
Right.
Mine's Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yep. I actually sent a Facebook video to one of my clients going, hey, dickhead, haven't talked to you forever. Give me a call. Let's do some barbecuing. I haven't talked to him in like a year or two, but the 80% of all your sales lie between the 5th and the 12th follow-up of video, text, social media, stopping by, whatever. Between the 5th and the 12th contact. If you guys are religious about staying up, go 12, 15 contact. Guys, you're not pissing them off. I mean, Bev, every single one of the people that I haven't talked to in like 12 or 15 years, they're my past clients because I epically sucked. Bad, Greg. Each one of them said, Greg, I am so glad you reached out and reconnected. Thank you so much for reaching out. And I was honestly scared to call some of them. I'm like, oh my God, I have epically screwed up. Do they even like me anymore? Do they even remember my name? And
but the thing is, Greg, does it really matter? No. Like, what's going to change? Exactly. What's going to change if you call them and they're like, F you. Okay, you didn't have them in the first place.
And delete. Thank you for cleaning up my database. All right.
Woohoo! One less I got to worry about.
My God. So, Bev, Chad Jarvis, he is finding your information to be incredibly all dollar signs. He loves you. And then Wesley Brooks, he got 2 CMAs this morning, 3 appointments yesterday, only possible keeping crazy accurate notes. So true. So true.
Oh my God. You have to treat the value of your database like everyone's going to get hit by a truck and you have to bring in somebody to run it. The value of the good notes, I mean, you just can't put a price on it. You can't.
We have notes going back 15 years with people talking about our conversations, what we've talked about with them, and I can bring it up. I can be like, oh my God, Bev, how are you? Last time I talked to you, you just broken your leg. Did it heal? How you doing okay? How'd you remember that? You're just one of those people that stick out in my mind, AKA I have notes. So
Right.
I'm that good.
Great. Thanks for the get well card the other day, Greg. I'm glad to know that your assistant was thinking of me.
Under the bus I go.
Oh, that's exactly.
And the wheels go around and around.
Oh man. All right. So Bev, take me through real quick. So one of the things that I think is really interesting about what you're saying, especially with the example of the agent that you gave, where now they're having to bring more agents on because they can't handle the leads that they're bringing in. There is an issue, and everybody struggles with this. I get it, but I feel like realtors definitely have it more than maybe some other business owners, which is this. We're so focused on, we don't really want a bunch of leads. We don't want a bunch of new clients. We want to be able to dictate and only have a couple more or one more. The problem is, if you actually work your database right, you'll get a lot of leads, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that are doing something in real estate. They're thinking about it, and what they're finding with your best client, right? They built a system that brings in leads and works the database correctly. You'll get more leads than you anticipate, and you'll actually have to you'll actually have to work. And I think agents are afraid of actually having to work. Wow. They only want just a couple more clients, and they want to just be able to turn that spigot on just a little bit. They don't want it actually to turn the faucet on. Does that make sense?
Well, and I'll tell you what we're finding out, because we do work the seller side and we do work the buyer side, and we do help companies create their systems. And it's been so eye-opening over the course of the last few months, just consulting with so many different business owners, because they don't even have a great understanding of their own market. They're like, Bev, just call my leads. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about what kind of leads you have. And then we're talking about their buyer database, their lead gen. We're talking about their expires, the FSBOs. And I'm like, tell me about your market. Is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a relocation market? Is it a move-up market? Every market is going to demand a different type of lead for us to be able to be, we've got to give them results. And if your market has no inventory and there's no expireds, why the hell are we calling expireds for you when there's hardly any expireds? So we can't focus on the new expireds. We got to get creative with either circle prospecting, or we got to go back to old expireds. Okay, if we're going back to old expireds, let's talk about when the majority of the people were actually trying to sell that didn't sell because their prices, they weren't getting enough for their properties, and they were expiring because the price wasn't meeting expectation. You've got to go back to the right year. You can't just throw a freaking dart and go, hey, we're calling these leads and we're going to have results. You've got to know your market.
I've heard people say that old expired leads were like gold, but I've never heard anybody go the next step and look at, okay, out of the last 5 years of old expireds, right. They're just calling back through. Like, if they do it at all, they just load them up into a dialer and call all of them. So you're actually going back.
Tell everybody, we are not a call center. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are not a call center. We're going to sit here and consult with you and dig into your market and dig in and make. My ISA is telling me, she goes, Bev, you are the only freaking business owner that gives future potential clients homework before you agree to do business with them. And I do. I'm not going to take your freaking money if I can't provide results for you.
Well, it's also we're working at what their level of expectation is and what they're willing to do to help you get your job done.
Yeah,
that's critical.
Yeah. Do they really want the result, or do they just want to get the work off their plate?
Yeah, because if they just want somebody to call leads, just call somebody else, because that's not us.
Yeah. So here's an idea. So I want to run this by you, Bev. As we were talking, this kind of popped in my head, and I vetted it out really quickly. And Matt, I want to get your opinion on this too, because this can work into something that you and I are putting together. But so all of you all that are listening here, you're going to get it for free. So write it down or remember it. Okay, so for agents that are new in the business or new to Facebook, every single time, and they don't have databases, they don't have a database to mine or anything else. Every single person that they're going to be friending or anything else on Facebook, they need to do a Facebook video to each and every person, and thank them for being friends, and ask them what they can do to help. Ask them in this initial video email or messenger email video that you try to create a relationship. You're not a stagnant photo anymore. You're an actual real person, and then you can go create groups and plug them into specific groups so you can start growing your database on Facebook, then transfer them over into your actual database as you grow as an agent, either new in the business or new to Facebook. Because I can see a lot of maybe older folks, or even now like millennials, that just said screw Facebook from the beginning, but now they're getting into real estate and they know they have to start a Facebook presence. That could be either side of the spectrum. I mean, I know, man.
That's a depressing thought. There are people out there, Greg, that aren't on Facebook that are now begrudgingly hopping onto Facebook because all of those old fogies are there. That's what it's come to.
Hey, you got to hang out with the old guys, man. There are years of knowledge in these gray whiskers. I've dipped my chin in wisdom.
That's
yes. Right. Nobody's ever said ever.
Oh my God. Yeah. All right.
So, Bev, what do you think? Bev, what do you think?
Well, you said the golden word there, groups, because the more you can have your database into ways of communicating, the better you can communicate. And what you're talking about, Greg, is if you have certain people that have certain hobbies, like I'm the wino. I love wineries. And having everybody that I know that loves wineries, if you have events that are coming up, you're hitting those particular people that are winery events. Now, I don't want to send winery events to my craft beer people, right? No. Can you tell I like alcohol? But anyway.
Just a minute, a little bit.
Hey, it's getting to be about that time. No. So
wrap it up.
You don't want to send steak to a vegetarian. So the more you can have that communication and your groups organized to send the right communication, the more people are going to be like, oh my God, you remembered. Speaking
their language. I mean, I'm not a wine guy at all. There's red, there's white, and if you pour red and white together, you get pink. That's my knowledge. It's called
rosé, Craig.
Rosé, like, Craig. Yes.
Class up with the joint a little bit. When you mix red and white wine together, it's called rosé.
But the beer, you might be inclined to be. Oh, there's a craft beer event, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a craft beer guy. You say craft beer, I come running. You say wine, I go to sleep. I'm like, I don't care what variety it is. It's like, it smells earthy. I'm like, fuck you, dude. It came from the dirt. It's a fucking great. Of course, it has earthy to it.
Beer is so romantic, not.
Like, cheers, baby. Clunk. Metal jugs. Plastic jugs.
Oh my gosh. All right, so Bev, real quick.
It really is utilizing your community and all the events that's going on in your community to really talk to your database. And being creative.
Bev, we got a question. Chad is asking if you coach ISAs.
That's my specialty, absolutely.
That's your jam, girl.
Mm-hmm. That's my jam.
Good thing we don't. Oh, good thing we don't get along or anything. Good Lord.
All right. I had one quick question before we shut things down. So, Bev, when you talk about groups, you're talking about kind of tracking your database by certain types of information. What is your kind of, I don't know, what would you call it, like the minimum? So where would you get started with the average agent in terms of kind of sorting out their database? Would you go like ABC? Would you go, like how would you classify, or what kind of buckets would you throw people into? Just the basic minimum to get started.
Well, it's just the ways to communicate. You need to be able to know which leads you never spoke to and which leads you have spoke to. I mean, that is like priority number one. Because if you spoke to them, there's a past conversation, and if they roll into a call filter like you've never talked to them, then you got to recover. And if you're not good at note taking, you look like an ass. So it's keeping it's right. Am I right? Like, I hate recovering from calling the wrong person. That just sucks. It ruins my day.
Yes, it does.
But so you have the best way. I've never talked to you. I have talked to you. If I have talked to you, You either qualify for a reminder and I want to follow up with you because I like our conversation. I know you're going to be future business, or I'm going to put you into a category because I got to put you on a shelf in the grocery store in an aisle. Now, some aisles, like how often do you go in the dog food aisle in the grocery store? Not very often. Most people go to PetSmart. So you might have aisles that you get people that you may never follow up with. However, you may have aisles that you go to all the time. I mean, buyer lost retiring, buyer lost relocating, buyer lost just looking 1+ year out, has an agent looking for a friend. If they maintain being active in your database, I want to know why you're still looking. And if you're not active, I want to know why you stopped looking. Where else can I put you? Did you already buy? I can put you in an already bought category.
Right.
So it's the repetitive conversations that you always have with the majority of leads in your database on how you're going to categorize them. And I always say it makes you better on the phone, because if you're moving them to a I talk to you category, how are you going to follow up with them in the future? So it forces you to ask those questions to get an idea of time frame, to get an idea of the reason why they would move if they were to make a move.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. What did you say, Bev? There's never a dead lead, even if people tell you that they're never going to do something. They're not dead. They're just not active now. Yeah, they're just not ready yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was talking to Tom Caffarella, who I just interviewed this morning for the Team Building podcast. He said that at one point, maybe it was Sterling that shared this story, that somebody basically told him to F off, right? It was a seller lead. Showed up on their door. They told him to F off. A year later, called him back and said, all right, we're ready to move. Come list my house. A year after telling them to F off.
One of my seller clients, we dialed. It was an expired a year ago. He went on the appointment, didn't get the appointment. She's expired again. I got the appointment. He went back out. He's like, I met with that bitch a year ago. He goes, she's still smoking crack. Yes. A no is a not yet. And you know what? Here's the funny thing. People can hang up on you today, but be your best friend tomorrow. And if just because they hang up on you, that just makes me call you even more. And I'll send you a text and go, oops, we got disconnected. I'm sorry. I'm just checking in to see future plans.
Yeah, a no is a condition. A no is a conditional yes. And like I have a friend of mine. She was a buyer client of mine about a year, maybe it might have been even 2 years. But I call her this to her face, and she calls herself this. # worst client ever, because she was an absolute fucking nightmare as a client. I'm like, hey, what's up? # worst client ever. She's like, hi. But dude, that chick refers so many people to me. I was so glad that she just dropped into
You made it personal. You made it personal and made you had fun with it.
Yeah, I did. And you know what? She and I have become buddies, and we're good friends. She always tries to tell me what to do, but we're still friends, and she refers clients to me. I mean, like she's probably referred like 4 or 5 people to me this year just in passing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. But yeah, you
made it fun.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, she and I were so happy to part ways, and she's like, basically, F you, Greg. I'm like, F you to you too. And we're out the door. And you know what? We cooled down, came back together, and we're all, hugs and rainbows and unicorns now. That's what
makes the difference whenever you're making phone calls. Everybody's like, what's your script? What's your script? And I'm like, I don't have one. I just ask great questions. And that's really all it is. And when we're calling an expired or a FSBO or, an expired and a withdrawn, it's, I want to know, why did you have your home on the market in the first place? Because it's not on the market. Well, why did you put it on the market in the first place? I'm just trying to get an update about what's going on with your future plans. And the buyer leads the same way. I'm not looking to, I want the appointment ultimately, but I want to know, what are your future plans? What has to happen for you to be able to make a move?
Stay in a consistent state of curiosity. Always
Bingo.
Be curious. Never dictate to them. Ask questions about them. Get invested into their lives. Once they know that you care, then they'll care about you. It is not the reverse way around, guys.
And they tell you stuff that you're sorry you even asked the question.
Yeah, they won't shut up. You're like, oh, damn it. I mean, the whole life.
Nobody's actually listening.
I'm going to go put you in mute and go like cut the grass or something. They'll still be talking by the time I get back.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Tell me more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that sounds like it's all his fault. All right, guys. So, Beverly, remind everyone of where they should go to learn more about you and connect with you.
www.balancebusinessconsulting.com.
And Carrie was nice enough to put the link in the Facebook comments, guys. So if you're on this, just scroll up a little bit, balancebusinessconsulting.com. The actual link is in the Facebook comments. If you're listening after the fact, make sure to subscribe to the show. First of all, iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube, but then go directly to the link. Check Bev out. Bev, you said you've got videos on everything that you offer. So if somebody has a question like, Chad's question about whether you coached ISAs, I'm guessing there's a video on how you coach ISAs on the website that he should check out right now. So Chad, go do that. And everybody else should too. And then Greg, would you like to say a quick word about Getting Out Business before we shut this down?
Sure, quick word. Is that what you want me to say? Oh, you want to?
That's really what I was going for. That is, nope, that's it. We're done. Sorry, that's all you get.
Guys, hey, I'm putting the link in here right now for Getting Out Business. If you guys don't want to do cold calling, door knocking, or anything that's traditional farming for real estate, or you don't have the funds for it, guys, this is the program that we specifically built for you. We built, Rockstar Prospecting was heavy door knocking, heavy cold calling, heavy outbound cold everything. We heard a resounding response from folks. They liked it, but there's another sect of people that are just like, ugh. That's nasty. I'm never going to do it, but I need business. So Matt and I are like, can we create a system where there's absolutely zero cold calls, zero door knocking, and you have a maximum of a budget of $500 a month for prospecting? Guys, this is your course. We're going to show you stuff that is literally sitting right in front of you right now, but you just can't see it because you don't know what you're looking for and how to ask the right questions. So, guys, the link is in. I put it in again, which I'm going to do right now because I failed to do that. No, I did. And so go take a look at it, guys. If you guys want to do it, it's $297. Matt and I don't push a lot of stuff your guys' way. But this is something. You get the recorded audio versions and video versions because we do it Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard. So you can go rewatch them if you missed something or wanted to rehear something. And then, of course, you get to interact and ask us direct questions and really have a lot of fun. We only take 20, guys. We can't do more than 20. We don't get to talk to everybody, so we max out at 20. If you guys sign up now and it rolls over until July, then great, we'll do it again in July. But, get your spot for June. If this is something that you guys think you can do now, because it is a lot of fun, and people are putting stuff into their businesses. Like one of the guys we're coaching in Florida, he hit me up. Matt, I haven't told you this. He hit me up. He said he's taken everything that we're talking, put it into action. He's getting immediate responses, and he's like having to, like Beverly said, I had to pump the brakes a little bit. It's like, there's too much. I gotta slow this thing down. So in every case, it's gonna be different. But guys, hey, if you're looking for something, this is your case, guys. Go get it. But we always do this because we love you guys.
I'm surprised as often as Greg and I talk that there's anything that Greg knows that I don't immediately find out. I'm very bad.
Matt, I'm gonna go get orange juice, not water for this next show. There you go.
Fantastic. All right, guys. So we've got some killer guests coming up next week. We've got Matt Lamont from Rebo Gateway coming up on the show on Monday about how to generate seller leads. Matt is ridiculous. That is going to be a fun show. Like I think the half hour I spent on the phone with him just setting up the podcast should have been recorded. We were laughing our asses off just on that.
Oh yeah, more F-bombs than anything else.
And then we've got Buddy Blake is on the show on Wednesday. Man, I'm pumped for that one. Yeah, finally got him nailed down and booked. So I'm excited to have Buddy on the show.
I've known him forever. He's an old school star power guy.
Yeah. We're going to talk about how to build a real estate business that you actually enjoy. He's obviously a big family guy and a big insider in the real estate industry and knows a lot and knows a lot of the key players and where things are going. So we'll get both perspectives, just how to build a lifestyle business, but also kind of where the future of real estate, especially on the marketing side, is going. So with that said, join us on Monday for the next show. Until then, guys, have a great weekend. We appreciate it. Beverly, thank you so much. I know Greg's going to close us out.
Thank you.
Yep. You guys, remember, follow us on Facebook. But until then, peace out, ninjas. We got